Today, we'll peel back the glittering curtain of Hollywood's history to uncover the shocking secrets, fake personas, and brutal truths that shaped the stars we idolized. Hollywood didn't just create movies, it created myths. Stars were polished, scandals were buried, and entire lives were rewritten to fit the image the industry demanded. But living inside a lie came with a cost. Mental breakdowns, ruined careers, and lives lost too soon. We'll explore how the pressure to conform forced countless stars into living double lives, and how the world only learned the truth when it was too late. Behind every movie poster and red carpet appearance, there's a machine built to manufacture dreams. In early Hollywood, studios didn't just manage actors, they owned them. Stars were given new names, fake love stories, and polished backstories that hid real struggles. Judy Garland was portrayed as the bubbly girl next door, while behind the scenes, she was pushed into dangerous diets and addictive pills to keep up the image. The dream was never real. It was carefully constructed for the cameras. The truth was that pain, loneliness, and exploitation were often hiding behind the flashing lights. To make stars perfect, studios forced many to erase their past. Frances Gumm became Judy Garland. Norma Jean Mortensen became Marilyn Monroe. Ethnic names were swapped for all-American ones to appeal to audiences. Even personalities were fabricated. Shy introverts were trained to act charming for interviews. Hollywood built gods and goddesses from ordinary people, then demanded they stay trapped inside the lie forever. Imagine never being allowed to be yourself, even off-screen. The pressure cracked many stars over time, setting them on tragic paths. Back when scandal could destroy careers overnight, Hollywood had professional fixers. Their job? Erase mistakes, silence blackmailers, and fabricate news stories for the press. If an actor got caught in a compromising situation, the studio would invent a vacation or arrange a fake relationship to distract the public. Even crimes were hidden. Stars lived in constant fear that one wrong move could end everything. These cover-ups showed just how little control celebrities had over their own narratives. Early contracts were brutal. Stars like Bette Davis and Olivia de Havilland fought studios in court because they were treated like property. Actors had no say in their roles, no right to personal time, and little power to walk away. If they disobeyed, they were blacklisted or smeared. It wasn't glamour, it was golden handcuffs. These golden age stories often left out how little freedom stars actually had behind the scenes. The cost of staying perfect was often physical and mental destruction. Studios pushed dangerous substances, amphetamines for energy, barbiturates to sleep, strict diets to stay thin. Judy Garland was famously given pills starting as a teenager. The public saw smiling faces. Behind the scenes were broken bodies desperately trying to keep up. The illusion demanded a heavy price, and not everyone survived it. To maintain a marketable image, stars were often forced into fake relationships. Rock Hudson, a gay actor, was pushed into marriages with women to protect his career. These showmances were a lie the public eagerly believed, while stars lived lonely, secret lives. Falling in love wasn't a private experience. It was a business deal negotiated by studio heads. Imagine not being able to love who you wanted for fear of losing everything. Child actors were especially vulnerable. Shirley Temple danced for millions, but behind the scenes, children like her faced endless work, parental exploitation, and sometimes even abuse. Many never transitioned to healthy adulthood because they were robbed of normal childhoods. Hollywood gave them fame but stole their innocence. By the time the spotlight faded, they were often left broken and forgotten. Publicly, studios and stars smiled for cameras. Privately, there were brutal rivalries and betrayals. Studios pit stars against each other, leaked false stories, and orchestrated smear campaigns to control careers. Joan Crawford and Bette Davis's famous feud wasn't just personal, it was amplified by studios hungry for publicity. Behind the glitz was a war zone masked by perfect smiles. Keeping the Hollywood machine running meant burying darker secrets, including abuse, discrimination, and exploitation. Whistleblowers were silenced with money or threats. Victims had nowhere to turn. Some stars carried their trauma quietly for decades, terrified of being blacklisted if they spoke out. The glamour was a mask hiding enormous suffering. Eventually, the lies crumbled. The public learned that many beloved stars lived lives nothing like the ones sold to them. The downfall of major stars, from Judy Garland to Marilyn Monroe, exposed how damaging the machine truly was. Behind every glittering award was a silent scream. Hollywood sold dreams, but it never cared about the dreamers. Hollywood wasn't just hiding scandals, it was creating them when it suited. Fake affairs, feuds, and betrayals were leaked to newspapers to boost movie ticket sales. Studios like MGM had entire departments whose only job was to manipulate public opinion. Scandal wasn't an accident, it was a strategy. They knew drama sold dreams even faster than beauty ever could. Men like Hedda Hopper and Louella Parsons ruled Hollywood gossip and could make or break stars overnight. Their columns weren't about truth. They were weapons wielded by studios. Cross a studio boss, and tomorrow's headline could destroy you. Stars learned quickly, play the game or lose everything. The pressure to look perfect was brutal. Actresses were ordered to get nose jobs, starve themselves, and change their entire appearance. Studio contracts even included weight clauses. Marilyn Monroe was criticized as too fat, even at size 6. Hollywood didn't just sell beauty, it sold body insecurity. Age was a career death sentence, especially for women. Actresses like Gloria Swanson and Norma Shearer saw their careers evaporate after their 30s. Studios discarded aging stars like broken toys. The message was clear. Beauty had an expiration date, and no talent could save you from it. Many Hollywood stars fought silent battles with mental health issues, but the industry buried it all. Depression, anxiety, breakdowns. They were all hidden behind painted smiles. If you couldn't handle the pressure, the studio would label you difficult and blacklist you. Suffering was not allowed, only smiles. Hollywood was a playground for the rich and reckless. Behind closed doors, wild parties, substance abuse, and secret relationships flourished. Photos were banned, and invitations came with discretion agreements. What the public saw was family-friendly premieres. What they didn't see was chaos. The real Hollywood after dark was much darker than you ever imagined. Behind every iconic photograph was exhaustion, heartbreak, and fear. Stars who seemed on top of the world were often battling debt, stalkers, or addiction behind closed doors. Fame wasn't a gift, it was a golden cage. The price for admiration was everything. Privacy, sanity, even life itself. To keep up appearances, stars sometimes married in secret or entered sham marriages altogether. Relationships were contracts to studios, not love stories. Some had clauses dictating no public displays or mandatory separations after a year. It wasn't romance, it was paperwork signed in blood. The few stars who dared tell the truth were instantly blacklisted. Careers ended with a whisper. Rumors were spread, contracts canceled, and no studio would touch them again. Speaking out against the system was seen as betrayal, and betrayal was a career death sentence. Silence wasn't just expected, it was survival. Some stars couldn't take it anymore. They disappeared, moved to Europe, faked retirements, changed names. Hollywood churned through talent without mercy, leaving many broken people scattered across the world, hiding from the machine that once adored them. Not every exit from Hollywood was a choice. Some were escapes. Long before today's exposés, Hollywood's casting couch was an open secret. Many actresses and actors faced abuse from powerful men in exchange for roles. Studios protected predators because they made money. Careers launched and lives were shattered behind closed doors in silence under brutal pressure. In Hollywood, friendships were often PR deals. Studio bosses would pair stars to appear inseparable for magazines, even if they hated each other off camera. The public saw loyalty behind the scenes, jealousy, betrayal, and contracts dictating fake friendships. Interracial relationships, LGBTQ+ romances, and forbidden love stories were hidden or destroyed to protect images. Contracts demanded stars stay relatable, meaning conforming to 1950s America's biases. Many legends lived double lives, loving freely in secret, lying publicly. Studios didn't just compete, they waged wars. They spied on each other, stole scripts, sabotaged careers. Stars were pawns in a brutal chess game between moguls. Behind every blockbuster, there was blood on the floor you never saw. Award shows rigged from the beginning. Publicists paid off voters. Studios demanded wins as marketing boosts. Some actors were even told when to act surprised. Winning an Oscar often had less to do with talent and more to do with politics. Perfection wasn't just expected, it was demanded. Hairlines were altered, teeth filed down, waistlines brutalized with corsets. And if you didn't naturally fit the image, you were replaced without mercy. Being human was a liability in Hollywood. When a star got pregnant without permission, it was a crisis. Babies were hidden, sent away, or quietly adopted out. Careers couldn't survive motherhood back then. You had to choose fame or family, not both. Blackmail was everywhere. Studio executives hired private investigators to find dirt on stars and used it to control them. Your career stayed alive not because you behaved, but because they allowed you to. Not everyone wanted to be a star. Many were pushed by parents, discovered too young, manipulated into careers they didn't choose. Fame wasn't always a dream. Sometimes it was a lifelong prison. All these lies, scandals, cover-ups, they had a cost. Depression, loneliness, addiction. Some stars died never telling their truths, locked forever behind studio-built illusions. The glitz wasn't free, it cost souls. To sell movies, studios often faked love triangles between actors, pitting two rivals against each other for magazine covers. Fans believed it. Gossip exploded. Meanwhile, the actors were often just confused or laughing behind the scenes. Hollywood doesn't just forget, it erases. Many stars who defied studio orders or had public scandals were quietly blacklisted. Their names disappeared from headlines overnight as if they never existed at all. Before it was normal, plastic surgery in Hollywood was a secret weapon. Noses, jaws, cheekbones, all fixed to fit beauty standards. Early operations were risky, painful, and totally hidden from public knowledge. Sometimes love wasn't real, it was arranged. Studios decided who married who to boost box office power. Real feelings didn't matter. Image was everything. And if the contract said married couple, then it was done. Hollywood sold itself as glamorous, but behind the scenes, racism ruled. Black, Latino, Asian, and indigenous actors were often typecast, marginalized, or straight up erased from history unless they fit stereotypes. Scandals didn't disappear. They were paid to. Studios kept huge slush funds specifically to cover up crimes, affairs, addictions. If a reporter got too close to the truth, a thick envelope usually solved the problem. Actors couldn't leave when they wanted. Studios locked them into brutal contracts, often 7 years minimum, and controlled what they wore, who they dated, what they said. One wrong move meant career death. Fame came fast for young actors, but it came at a brutal cost. Childhoods stolen, pressure to perform, drug addictions handed out like candy to keep up energy. Few survived without scars. Some actresses were told outright, stay thin or stay home. Crash diets, amphetamines, and starvation were part of the regimen. Beauty wasn't celebrated. It was demanded brutally and without mercy. Most stars didn't write their autobiographies. Studio hired ghostwriters, polished them into fairy tales. Pain, abuse, betrayal, all erased. The public got a sanitized lie, while the real story stayed locked away forever. Not every award is won. Some are bought. Studios spent millions on lobbying voters, throwing luxury parties, and gifting expensive items just before ballots were cast. Awards weren't about talent, they were about who had the bigger wallet. Hollywood loved Marilyn Monroe's image, but hated her independence. When she demanded better roles and respect, they branded her difficult. Studios leaked stories to the press, painting her as unstable to crush her rebellion. Those open casting calls offering fame to anyone, 99% of the time, they were scams. Real casting happened behind closed doors. Who you knew, what favors you gave, or what secret deals you made determined your fate. There were endless, untold stories of harassment behind the scenes. Stars, especially women, were forced into silence. Speaking up meant being blacklisted. Careers were destroyed before they even had a chance to start. Ideas in Hollywood aren't always original. Studios often borrowed scripts, concepts, or characters from unknown writers without ever giving credit. Dreams were stolen while billion-dollar franchises were built. Hollywood stars were forced to fake happy family lives. Even when marriages crumbled, they posed for happy holiday pictures to preserve their image. Divorces were hidden until it could no longer be contained. Drugs and alcohol ran deep in old Hollywood, but it was scrubbed clean for the cameras. Rehab centers were paid to stay silent. Publicists twisted stories, and the public never knew the full truth. Some stars didn't fade. They were pushed off the stage. Rivalries, jealousy, revenge. Entire careers were destroyed through rumor campaigns, fake scandals, or secret blacklisting from powerful players. Bodyguards saw everything: affairs, drug deals, secret meetings. They became the ultimate silent witnesses. Many were paid huge bonuses to stay quiet, while a few who tried to speak out mysteriously disappeared from the scene. Those rare stars who dared to tell the truth paid a heavy price. Canceled contracts, death threats, financial ruin. Hollywood wasn't just fake smiles. It was a battlefield, and only the obedient survived. Actors were told to lie about their age, sometimes shaving off a decade or more. Teens were sold as adults. Seniors played fresh-faced 20-somethings. Hollywood sold eternal youth, but it was all makeup and forged birth certificates. You thought a movie was a hit because it made millions? Studios often bought out their own screenings to boost opening numbers, creating fake buzz that tricked audiences into watching terrible films. Almost every celebrity couple you shipped, studio arranged, fake dates, fake romances, and stage paparazzi photos, all created to fuel gossip, sell magazines, and distract from real scandals behind the scenes. Many stars were told to erase their real pasts. Poor, working-class kids were transformed into polished, rich personas. Entire fake biographies were crafted just to sell the American dream. When a star's real story didn't fit Hollywood's fairy tale, studios rewrote their endings. Real heartbreaks were turned into beautiful narratives, hiding overdoses, mental breakdowns, or painful family tragedies. Hollywood agents weren't just booking gigs. They controlled who their clients dated, what they wore, what they said, even when they could speak to family. Stars lived like prisoners. There were crimes, serious ones, that studios covered up. Money exchanged hands, evidence disappeared, and entire careers continued like nothing happened. Power was everything. Extras lived in a different world, unpaid, mistreated, and invisible. Thousands tried to survive on scraps just to stay close to fame, hoping someone would notice. Most never even got a name. Publicists were professional liars. They spun cheating scandals into rough patches. They covered arrests with hospitalization for exhaustion. They crafted fake inspirational stories for actors who were falling apart. Even today, the real truth about Hollywood's greatest lies stays buried. Too many powerful names, too much money at stake. But slowly, through broken dreams and whispered confessions, the mask slips.